right, you guys. So we are literally knee deep in October. October went by so fast, super, super fast. But I've been looking forward to this interview. It's with a really, really good friend, guys. It is with not only, I call her my ace. I've been calling her that since college. I will call her Nari. So it just depends. It just depends. But today I have the opportunity to introduce all of you who don't know her or who have not heard of her, Miss ANarris Monger. And I am so excited to have you.
I am excited to be here.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to get into it. This topic is called growing through versus going through. And I don't know about y'all, but this year alone felt like it was forcing you to grow through. Like it was forcing you to grow through. And I wanted to take the time out to really just bring one person on that I've been able to see her growth through years. I want to bring her on so she can kind of talk us through her journey. But before we get started, y'all know I got this one question that everybody got to ask. I got to ask them. What does manifestation mean to you, ANarris?
Manifestation. Speaking, believing, and doing. So speaking what I want into the atmosphere, into the universe. Believing that I'm going to get it. And actually working towards it to manifest my goal. That's what manifest means to me.
Okay. Look, y'all. See, look, I always forget to bring pen and paper. I'm gonna write this down. So speaking,
believing,
and doing. Awesome. I think those right there is powerful on its own. Speaking, believing, and doing. Hey, friend.
I'm sorry, he might pop in and out every once in a while.
Look, I like friends. Hey, friend.
And he's so busy. I'm sorry, y'all.
It's okay. We get it. Look, it is a part of motherhood and everything. So loving it. So speaking, believing, and doing. And then on top of that, I've seen you do all three of those things literally at the same time sometimes. Like I feel like you one moment you're like speaking it, next moment you're like, I know it's gonna happen. Matter of fact, I think I had just posted or replied to a Instagram post you made. And it was about the news. And so you guys, let me tell y'all this really quickly. So I was about to call you Nari. So ANarris put on Instagram a post like, y'all catch me on the news in the morning, a post similar to that. And I'm like, yes, let's go. I was ready, right? And responded. And she was like, girl, I'm just manifesting. I was like, look, if it's one person that I know not only speaks it, believe it, but I bet y'all before the end of this month or before the next month or this year is out, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So you definitely live that, speaking, believing, and doing. Definitely believe that. Okay, so I can go on and on about who you are, but I want you to kind of tell us who is ANarris.
All right. I guess I can say that ANarris, and I'm not gonna just be all professional with it either.
Okay.
I'm just put out the real. So I guess I could say ANarris, I am very goal oriented, but I'm also very introverted. So I'm a type of person where I can be around people, but then I have to take my break from people a lot of times. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely a family person. Like I love my family, especially the family that I created. I definitely love my friends. I love to be around them, but I also take breaks from them as well. What else? I'm a dreamer. I'm a talker. I'm very introverted, but I'm definitely a talker, especially when it comes to like my goals and like my ideas and stuff. Mm-hmm. I will talk to you all day about that, about my goals and things like that. I probably talk to you all day about my relationship too, and like where it started to where it's at now. So I am that, and I'm a mother, a sister, a daughter. I'm all of those things. I guess I could say I'm an entrepreneur now.
Whoop, whoop. We gonna get into that.
Yeah, I could say that, and I could say that I'm aiming to own a nonprofit, which I can call it a nonprofit. I just don't have a 501c3, but it's a nonprofit. And I'm a community advocate. I advocate for the community a lot. It's something I always wanted to do, and I'm really, really doing it right now. So I'm happy. And I'm a manifester. Like, I'm manifesting. Yeah. Oh, and I'm a wife, y'all. I'm a wife. And I'm excited about that. I've been a wife for about a year.
Hey, look. Did y'all hear that? She started off not with no professional title, not with I am this, but she it was a plethora of things that has created her into the woman she is today. And it's still growing, like manifester. It's still becoming, it's not a period to any of those things. Wow. Okay. So here we are, y'all. We made it to the main topic. Growing through versus going through. And again, I kind of touched on it earlier. I've had the opportunity to witness ANarris growth from college to where we are now. And especially in the last couple of years, I have really seen her have to make decisions on growing through some really tough situations, and making some decisions to not let it stop her or hinder her from being that manifester, from being that wife, from being that sister, from being that daughter, being that friend, being that mother. So many things it could have stopped her in believing, but she's made the decision to not only believe, but to do. So I am going to just hand it over to you because you said so many things, but I want you to kind of tell people what did you grow through? What are you growing through right now? And how would you tell people on that journey to continue?
Okay, this topic is so broad for me because I can talk about so many things, but what I will talk about is like my last 2 years of life. I mean, I not say my last 2 years of life, but the last 2 years of my life. I'll talk about those things. So on March 2nd of last year, my mom was murdered by her husband. It was a shock. We did not see it coming. We did not know that she was going through whatever she was going through. She always told us she was happy. And it was just like, it just was like a thief in the night. Like 1 minute we was talking to her and then the next minute she was just gone. And that was like one of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with in life. For one, my family, we don't have too much death in our family. And if it is death, it's more like an older person dying of, maybe cancer or just old age or something like that. Never of murder. So it was a hard pill to swallow. And then her husband ended up killing himself. So we didn't even have closure. And we had to deal with that. And it just seemed like it happened and it just went so fast. Trying to grieve, trying to plan a funeral, and still trying to be like regular, like and just exist in this world. So that was something that I was going through, but it was also something that I grew through. And the reason I say this because instead of just going through the emotions, I decided to take my emotions and take my feelings and my pain and turn it into something that could help others who were going through what my mom was going through, that could help others who were suffering in silence, that could help others understand and be aware about domestic violence. And that was a way that I was able to get through, and it helped me grieve. It helped me cope. because I was able to just help others, and I've been doing things in the community and with my sisters and my family and my friends, and just doing different things, helping people. And it's really been helping us as a whole get through the fact that our mom was murdered by her husband. So that is what I went through, what I'm going through still, because I feel like I still go and grow.
Mhm.
I definitely can get emotional at times. I'm definitely still triggered by certain things. And it could be the most randomest thing that triggers me. And boom, here goes a flashback about the day my mom passed away. But you know what I do, I just decide to get up and push through and think about the positive things that I have coming out of it, out of her death. I'm helping people. Um, I'm living in my passion right now. I'm living in my purpose. And most importantly, again, I'm helping people, and like that's the biggest thing, right? To be able to help somebody else so that they won't go through that situation.
Mhm.
So that's how I'm growing through that right now, and just taking it a day at a time, and just taking my breaks when needed. You know, I'm just doing that, and then
It's one thing I want to, right before you continue, I really want to touch on. I thought it was important that you said was you're growing, but you're still growing. You're still going through things. And it's not, oh, okay, I made this decision and I'm just on this positive, I'm all happy all the time. Like, no, life still has triggering moments. There are still moments that I have to be real with myself and the people around me. And that's one thing that I have noticed in your growth is the honesty of where you are in each moment. So it's not this mask that, oh, I'm happy all the time. I'm in this great position. I'm doing all these great things. It's like, no, there are days where I need to take a step back. There's days where I need to say I'm angry. There's days where I need to say I am upset or I'm sad, because that's true growth, is to be able to acknowledge those emotions and
yeah,
not bury them. So that's one thing I really wanted to point out, because I think it's really inspiring and inspirational that you said that growth doesn't mean that you stop going through stuff.
yeah. And I want to say that when my mom had died, and this is the difference between me going through and growing. When my mom had died and this pandemic happened, my mom passed away right before the pandemic. Then this pandemic happened, so I was grieving, but it seemed like I had to focus on other things too. So it was hard. But when the pandemic hit, I just felt like I had to do 1,000 things at once. Like I had to figure out what I was supposed to be doing in my life after my mom died. So here I am, enrolled into this doctorate program, trying to start a juicing business because I like juicing, and then working on my organization. I hate domestic violence. And during those moments, I was definitely just going through. I wasn't growing per se, because I just was doing stuff just to be doing it, and I was just trying to figure out what to do,
Mhm.
right? And so at that moment where I started becoming overwhelmed, I had to take a step back, and I had to stop something, and I had to pray on it. And I had to figure out, like, what is it that I'm really supposed to be doing, because I'm doing too much right now. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to not drop out. I'm going to stop my doctorate program right now, because that's not needed. What do I really need this for right now? I'm not even working in a career. I'm in that career, in that field. So, okay, I got rid of that. Then I was like, oh, I love juicing, but I don't like juicing for other people no more. Like, people be too demanding, and I'm straight. Then I was like, okay, maybe it's I hate domestic violence, but I even had stopped doing that for a minute, because I'm like, I'm just overwhelmed. I'm just gonna take a complete break and stop everything.
Mhm.
Then boom, here goes God sending some type of sign or something to do with I hate domestic violence. I'm like, okay, well, is this what you want me to do? And I'm like, he like, yeah, this is what I want you to do.
Mhm.
So I just started doing it, and so that's where I got to the point where I was actually growing now, because I was able to figure out that all three of these things, it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. And then take that one thing and focus in on it and grow with that, and take it to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Right there. That is so important, because I think you covered multiple things. One of them being that you had to really make a decision and prioritize what was going to be your focus. And it also meant that you had to eliminate some things and let go of some things. And sometimes we like to hold on to everything because, one, it keeps us busy. It allows us to not focus on some of the things we need to really focus on. But by taking that step back and say, okay, why am I doing this? How is it benefiting me? And do I really need it in what I'm going to do moving forward? And it sounds like once you let go of those things, you were able to kind of hear more clear, and to also be more specific in your question to God, which was, is this what you want me to do? His response, you could hear more clear, like, yes, this right here is, and it wasn't like, okay, are you talking about this or that or this? You were able to have that vision more clear. So I think that was really, really important.
Yeah, making those decisions was kind of hard too for me, because I'm like, I really didn't know, and I'm like, I know I like all these things, but right now, what should it be? So yeah. The next thing that I've grown through, this one was really tough. I mean, my mom's death was really tough too, but so of course I wanted another baby. I wanted a daughter. And so I got pregnant. I was pregnant for all of 5 months, and I had my baby. I had a preterm baby on September 10th. And it was one of the scariest things that I think I ever had to deal with in my life. I didn't know whether I was coming or going. I woke up one day and I was bleeding, and I flew to the hospital, and the nurse told me I was 2 centimeters dilated, and that my water was poking through my cervix. And like when she told me that, I just cried. I cried because I was scared, because I was in the hospital alone, because they wouldn't let my husband come up to the emergency room. And I was just by myself during that time. Like, everybody was on the phone and like texting me and stuff, but I still felt alone because there wasn't nobody there by my bedside. But the nurse was like, you are in the hospital with all these people that you don't even know. And you find out that you're about to have your baby early. Like, that was scary for me. I can remember getting pushed down the hallway. It was just like I was in a movie, like getting pushed down the hallway. I remember getting pushed down the hallway and just like looking at the ceiling and seeing the lights and stuff, and me going to like the next room or whatever. And so after that, I got to my room, and I was in that room I was in the labor and delivery room for 4 days. I guess I would call it an active labor. My husband was able to come in there at that time when I got to a room, whatever. And yeah, I would call it an active labor. I would say I was in labor for 4 days, because I literally was having contractions that day. I woke up and went to the hospital. I felt like I was having contractions. I knew it was contractions because I was timing them. They wasn't like extreme, so it was little, but I knew something wasn't right. So I was in that room for 4 days, and I was in labor, and I was contracting, and the contractions were getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you hear these doctors and nurses telling you, your baby might not survive this. Like, when the baby come out, she may be detached from her head, may be detached from her body. They were telling me so many things, and I get it. They had to tell me the worst just in case the worst happened. But during that moment, like I had to become one with God. Like I had to become one with God, and I had to block out all of those things that they were telling me that would happen to my baby. And I had to start thinking positive, thinking about the positive things that could happen. And because I had to give her strength to push out, to come out. So, I would talk to her. They said that 23 weeks was a dangerous time to have her. And I was able to keep her in for 23 weeks and one day. So she was 23 weeks and a day. So she was almost 24 weeks when she came out, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So I was able to keep her in for that long. And I just kept talking to her. I kept praying. When the nurses came in, they was like, "Oh, your room is so spiritual." I had my gospel music playing. I was on the phone with my friends. It was just a scary moment, and I definitely was going through during that time. I wouldn't even call that growth at that moment. I was going through the motions because I didn't know what to think, and I would be sitting here lying if I tell you I wasn't scared to death. I was scared to death, and you try to block out those negative thoughts, but they're still in the back of your head because you hear it now. They was telling me like, "Oh, if you get a C-section, you got to get a certain way. You might not be able to have no more babies. Oh, if you have it vaginal, it's dangerous too." Because my baby was breached too, so she came out legs first. And with this, how strong my baby was, like she came out legs first, and everything was attached. And if she was in my stomach, she'll be 28 weeks. And with her not being in my stomach, she's a month now. So she's a month, and she's breathing on her own with a little help. She's healthy. She's a healthy baby right now. Nothing's really wrong with her. When she came out, like they was like, "Oh, we might have to resuscitate her and do all this other crazy stuff." But she came out, everybody was calm because she was good. And I was like, "Ooh, thank you, God." I was just praying, and I was just crying, and I was just like, it was in that moment that like I knew like it was nobody but God. It was nobody but my angels that's watching over me. Like at that moment, I knew like, okay, yeah, you gotta get your mess together. Like you gotta get closer to God. Like you need to really just be on your knees right now, praising Him for getting your baby through this. Like, and I don't know. Like I guess right now I have grown. I'm way more patient. Like, and when negative things happen, I always try to find the positivity in it. Because we have all these negative things that happen in our life and we just dwell on the negative things, but we also got to dwell on the positive things that come out of the negative things, because there's always, and I promise you, there's always something positive in anything that negative that happens to you. You just have to believe it, and you have to see it, and you have to look for it because it's there. You have to allow yourself to see it. You have to, because if you don't, you will make yourself worse off than what you really are. Honestly, like I feel like if I was to sit in that hospital bed and be negative every day and say that my baby might not make it and say she wasn't going to make it and just say negative things, she probably wouldn't have made it. But because I was in there and I was praying and my husband was praying and people was praying for me, and everybody was just speaking positivity over the situation, that's why she made it. And that's just what I've been like. That's just what has been going on for the past 2 years, like that. And I mean, right now, I can honestly say like I'm a better person after all of that. I don't know. I'm here, and I just wake up every day knowing that I'm here, and with me knowing that I'm here, it gives me another chance to make my life better and to make my kids' life better and to make my family's life better. And that's just all I want right now. And I just, I guess that's growth. I don't know.
Okay. Look, okay, y'all. I be trying to be a whole thug and like not.
Yeah.
I be trying, and I just want to let you know that it takes so much courage. 'Cause that was just a month ago. Like we're not talking about years ago, y'all. Like we are talking about 4 weeks. We are talking about that you were in a hospital, that you were in a situation you had no idea what was going to happen from a second to a minute to even an hour of what was going to happen, and the strength it had to take to go through something like that, and how I know it's like, okay, it doesn't feel like, oh, I should be like, oh no, but I really feel like I should be like commending you, because that mentally, emotionally, and physically had to be the most scariest moments of your life. And I just appreciate you being vulnerable and saying that, because you're speaking it with power. Like you're like, I don't know if I would have like the ability, because I feel like I was like tearing up or getting emotional because of just seeing, like visualizing you in the hospital, visualizing you having to, even though times your husband was there, to be through that situation, hear that, that's a lot. And for you to be here a month later with baby girl, a month later, through everything you've been through, a month later, and still saying like, hey, I'm still going through these things. But I'm still here. And it wasn't because of me. It was because of, sometimes when we can't be strong ourselves, we gotta find and have a group or a village to be strong with us. And it sounds like that also supported you.
Yeah, it definitely did. And just having a village and having people praying for me, that has helped me a lot. Even when my mom passed away, like we had an abundance of people like pour into us, pour out to us, like just ask us were we okay, praying for us, calling us. And that really helped us get through. Um, and in those moments, it made me better. It made me want to do more as a person, because all these people were doing for us during such a tragic time. And I couldn't believe it. Like, I couldn't believe that my mom, like, well, my mom was a good person, so I could believe it. But she had the whole church, like, filled to where people couldn't even get in. That's how full the church was. And even with my situation with my baby, people still have been pouring into me and just like texting me, calling me, what do you need? Giving me advice. Like my friends, they sit on the phone on FaceTime with me. One of the nights I was in the hospital for probably until they sat on for me for a long time. Even during those times on phone me, I was getting a catheter inserted. And like, it was in those moments where I'm like, I couldn't do nothing but be grateful, because like, yeah, I was going through something painful, and they was right there, and like they could feel the pain too, because we went from laughing to when my catheter was getting put in, everybody just got quiet because everybody, could feel it, but they was there. And then it was crazy because one of my friends, she's a nurse, and she used to work at the exact hospital where I had my baby at. And she was on the phone too with us on FaceTime. And so we all hung up probably like around like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. I had my baby at like 8:12 a.m. And she called me right after I had my baby. Like, she knew that that's the time I had my baby. It was crazy. But it was also another moment where I was thankful, and it made me want to be a better friend, a better sister, a better person. Because when people pour into you, like you want to pour into them back. You want to just be this great person, because you like, these are the times when you need people, and the people that I needed was there. And it just that gave me growth too, because like, I gotta be a better person. Like, it's no way that I can come up out of here and still be the same person that I was before I came in.
Mm-hmm. Man, I don't know if it's just the topic or what, but I don't know what y'all. I'm being a thug, y'all. I'm being a thug. But I really want to touch on the point that sometimes, well, not sometimes, it's really more so all the time. You don't get to growth or making a decision to grow before going through something. And that going through something doesn't have to necessarily, it doesn't have to always be, at an extreme. It doesn't have to be that. It could be anything. But you have to go through something because you have to make a decision on how you are going to respond to whatever you are going through. And I just commend you for being able to be vulnerable enough to say, I need help. I don't want to do this alone. I can't do this alone. Because growth doesn't mean that it's a solo decision and a solo journey. And it sounds like in the midst of the two life-changing situations you talked about so far, it wasn't a solo journey.
No, it definitely wasn't. That's another thing that I learned during these past 2 years is to seek help. I've learned to seek help. And that's coming from a person, I don't like to ask nobody for nothing when I'm going through anything, because I feel like I'm a burden, or, I feel like I'm bothering people. So during these moments, like, I literally like have asked people for help. Like, even with my organization, it's things that I know that I could do on my own, but I knew, like, I just had a baby. I'm like, I'm not about to do this on my own. Let me call my friends. I even text you, like, hey, how do you do this? Or, hey, can you send me this? Like, even like I was applying for a grant. I know one of my friends, she wrote a grant. I have a few friends who wrote a grant. I immediately called her, like, listen, I need you to write my whole grant. I cannot do it. I'm overwhelmed. I don't want to think about writing. I just had a baby. Like, please write this grant for me. And I did. And, it's times where I feel like I wanted to run an organization by myself, and I had to step back and pull my sisters more closer to me and have them really take over and do some things, because I couldn't do it by myself. Because, I am, I can be, am I overwhelmed right now? No, not right now. But will I be maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, who knows? But when I get to that point, I know now to get help. And it's okay to get help, because it's people who want to help. It's people out here who literally want to give you the shirt off their backs, just because of the person they are and just because of the person that you are. And it's okay to be like, yes, it's okay to accept that help from those people. And that's what I had to learn. Like, girl, if you don't open your mouth, because closed mouths don't get fed. And I've been literally opening my mouth like, help, I need help with this, I need help with that. Like, even the simple as having my husband hold my hand in the hospital, like, hold my hand, I need you to hold my hand. Like, just being vulnerable and open and like just transparent, like that's really been what I've been on lately.
Girl, look, I am ready to see you, and I am ready to give you the biggest hug.
See you either.
Because those, I think, really that's bringing it to a close a little bit, is growing through something does not mean you have to go through it alone. And it doesn't mean you make up this decision one day and you say, oh, I'm gonna make this decision. This is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna be positive and grow from here. No, it means that you make the decision probably sometimes each day, sometimes each moment, to say, okay, I am going to try again. And it might be good days, it might be bad days, it might be days where you just don't want to do nothing and you just want to chill. And I don't want to grow, I don't want to go, I just want to sit. Like,
it's literally days where I just lay on my bed and I look at the ceiling and I'm like, I can't do it today. And that's okay. And people be feeling guilty for not being able to move or do it on that day. You don't have to. It's perfectly fine to cancel everything if you need to, and just later until you feel better. Like literally, it's been days like that. Like, and I used to be like upset and mad at myself that I used to do that. But now I'd be like, forget it. I'm about to lay here and I'm not about to do absolutely nothing because I'm one of those people who will load my schedule up with a ton of things and then sit there and be like, oh my goodness, I'm so overwhelmed. Now, when I get to that point, I declutter and I readjust and I get myself together. I literally will lay there all day and I won't move. And sometimes that's needed. And like I said again, that's okay.
Yeah. All right, so look, usually it'd be like I got questions after question after question, but I don't have questions after question at this time. I feel like you covered so much in just your story and just your journey. So really how we gonna bring this to a close tonight is what encouragement do you have for someone who's going through, right? It could be anything. It could be positive, it could be extreme, it could be traumatic, it could be whatever. Anybody that's going through something right now, how do they change that going through to growing?
The biggest thing I think is being aware of where you're at and your feelings and your emotions. And once you aware, like you can act on it. And act on it doesn't necessarily mean physically doing something or, making a move. Act on it may just simply mean pausing in those moments and actually feeling those emotions and going through those emotions and getting to the point where, you can start understanding what's going on. And then that's at the moment you can begin to grow. So I would just tell people to feel, because a lot of people don't want to feel. A lot of people kind of exist and they don't work on the things like their emotions and things like that. And that's very important because if you don't work on those things, you won't be able to move forward. So my biggest thing is when you're going through those things, pause first and actually feel it and go and go through it. And then, another thing I look at is like each day that I wake up is another chance, and as long as you're here on this earth, you have another chance. So if you feel like giving up, just know God hasn't given up on you because he allows you to open your eyes the next day. He allows you to open your eyes. So if you have been able to open your eyes, even if you feeling depressed, just know that you opened your eyes and that's a blessing. And that's the reason for you to push through it, to go through it and to grow through it because you're here. And life doesn't stop and time doesn't stop. So it's like you got to figure out what coping mechanism or what thing is it that helps you feel better so that you can push forward. Grasp onto something, somebody, something, anything that makes you happy. Just grasp onto that, and I really feel like that'll help you get through whatever you're going through.
Wow. Okay, guys. So if y'all have taken anything, I think it was that key point of being aware. When you are going through something, be aware of what you're going through, where your feelings and how it's impacting you. And when you make a decision to grow through it, growth does not mean that you are on this high every day. It does not mean that you got all the answers. It just means that you choose to make another step another day. And sometimes that step can be like
real small.
And sometimes you could just be standing still, and that's enough.
That's okay.
Enough. Man. All right, side. We didn't hit it. We didn't hit it on the time. I am so thankful that you not only came on this platform with me, but that you are in my life. You are my friend. And I know, girl. I told you I've been trying to be a thug. I'm like, girl, So I'm super, super grateful.
I'm grateful for you too. I'm grateful for you allowing me to be on your platform and to share a little bit of who I am and my story and stuff. I just want to say one thing. Go on my website,
Yes.
www.ihatedomesticviolence.com, and you can kind of see like my story and like the things that I'm doing. And you can also see my mom's story too.
Awesome. And then there's other ways they can support the website, also on Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
I Hate Domestic Violence, and we'll make sure we have it scrolling across. We'll make sure it's at the end, y'all. You can definitely go to the website again. It's www.ihatedomesticviolence.com.
Yeah, everything is I Hate Domestic Violence, Facebook, Instagram, and website.
Awesome. And they can also purchase t-shirts as well that will support the organization.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. All right. Well, I love you.
I love you too. Thank you.
Thank you.